So yes, people, and welcome back to another Tuesday. Another Tuesday means it's another episode of the Ghostoul Podcast. And this week we have an awesome gentleman. I've worked with him before. He is so busy. So let's just bring him out. We have Wayne from Spookinory himself on the show. Woo, woo,
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
That's
very,
good.
very busy, but other than that, really good.
It's best to be busy, I think.
Yeah,
don't you reckon?
I do. Yeah, definitely. I sort of got my hand and my fingers in so many different pies, but I don't think I'd have it any other way. You know, since leaving school and doing all these different jobs, I've just literally done that job, then come home and relaxed. But now, I work from home, I go at my own pace, and I can do what I want when I want.
Perfect.
But I've literally just found things to do, and it's all falling in place altogether, and it's worked.
Well, I can tell you one thing: when you have a break from the paranormal, it just seems so long and so boring. So, you know, it is definitely something that you have to keep your hands in the pies, as they call it, or fingers in the pies.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I do it when I go on holiday. You know, I go over and visit my mum and my sister in Corfu. And even when I'm over there, I'm still on the Wi-Fi, still on the TikTok, still on Facebook.
Checking up.
Checking up on everything. And I've even done the odd live from Corfu, and a couple of times I've actually gone out and investigated various places. Last year it was an old church that was just outside the town that my parents live in, and it's all sort of derelict and just been left to wreck and ruin. And I spent an hour or so in there, and it's just incredible. And it's nice to actually go to somewhere different than in the UK.
Yeah.
Because even then, when we investigated in there, we even had Greek EVPs.
Greek? Oh, wow.
Greek. Whoever it was that was coming through was speaking Greek. And my sister's husband had said that he's speaking Greek. And when we left, this voice said "Apharisto," which is Greek for thank you. And I picked that up straight away. I didn't understand a single word of anything else that was said. But that particular one, I'm like, excellent. This is amazing. And it, in a sense, proved to me that not all ghosts speak English.
Why would they? You know?
Yeah. So you could go to, say, like a prisoner, an old prisoner of war camp where the majority of the prisoners that were there would have spoken German. And people were going, oh, it was coming through in English. Well, why would they speak English?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the pilots, they were taught English specifically so that if they did crash land in UK territories, they were able to blend in by being able to speak English. But you'd still have an accent. But these EVPs were coming through in solid Greek. And I'm like, yeah, that's brilliant.
Wow. That's crazy. Right, so we have a few people in the building tonight so far. We've got Sir Kev Kerr in the house. Hello, mate. Hope you're well. We've got Mr. Mark Williams. Hello.
Hey, Mark.
We have Ali and Sadie from Hauntex TV. Welcome along. We've also got Paranormal Path. Is that Jacqueline?
Yeah, we Jacqueline. Hi, Jacqueline.
In the house. Hello. Yeah. So we've had a good start so far. So Wayne, if you could just let the people know that maybe don't know what you do, etc., just give them a little rundown. That'd be great.
Okay. Well, I'm mainly a general paranormal investigator. So I enjoy working with other teams, going out with other groups that are doing hosting public events, And I go along to other people that are hosting events similar to what we've been to on a few occasions with various groups.
Yeah.
I also run my own paranormal investigation public events team called Spookinory Events Limited. We don't do so many of the events simply because of other work that we do.
Yeah.
So we tend to, because I also present an online TV show called Truth Beyond Paranormal, we limit what we do. So we'll do no more than 8 events per year for Spookinory events. And they tend to be the same ones every year, but they're so sort of few and far between.
Yeah.
But people still come to them. And we've mixed things up a little bit this year. I've got an event on the 22nd of February at Streatham Old Engine in Ely, which is an amazing place, which I had a personal experience there, which scared the living daylights out of me to start off with. And once I literally, within seconds of getting over it, I shot down from the 3rd floor up, down to the main boiler room, and I drew what I saw. And Keith Simpson, who was there at the time, says, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm literally drawing down what I saw. And we were standing up on the top floor, just me and Jamie Setchell, who oversees the paranormal events there. And we're standing there, and we said, right, it's time to go back and have a cup of coffee before we continue with the next vigil. And I literally picked up my REM pod off the windowsill at the top of the stairs. And as I took a step down, this face literally came right up into mine. And I went, oh, and I stumbled backwards. And at first I thought it was Keith. And it turned out it wasn't. And so I'm like, whoa. And I've just shot downstairs. There's no sight of this other person.
Yeah.
So I've shot downstairs, I've run in, and I've drawn this picture. And it was an oldish gentleman. He had a beard similar to yours, but it was pure white, and right down the centre was a black stripe, all the way down the middle.
Oh, wow.
He had an old clay pipe and a flat cap. And his name was John. And Keith had said to me, "Is this what you saw?" I said, "Yeah." He got right in my face. He wasn't happy about us being there.
Yeah.
And he wanted us out. But earlier on that night, Keith and Jamie both got, I wouldn't say possessed, but they were affected by something that was up on that top floor. And it wasn't nice. And I'm like, well, okay, this is the first time I've come up here. And I've just experienced something that coincides with what you had earlier on when I was in the boiler room. And it all fell together. And then Jamie had told me a couple of weeks later that he'd been looking through the books, and he had actually found a guy who was responsible for keeping the boilers clean, and his name was John, and there was a picture of him.
And did he look like that?
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, wow. So we were like, next time we go back, we keep asking out for John, and we still get a few bits happen. And we believe he lived in the cottage that joins onto the old engine house. It's now an Airbnb. Oh, and nobody was staying there the weekend we were there. And when we first got there was no lights on in there at all. And I think it was about an hour and a half later, we went outside and we noticed the lights were on in the cottage. So we've gone round, we've looked in through the windows. There's nobody in there. There's no bags, nothing. And Jamie had turned around to us and said, "There's no one staying here this weekend. Those lights shouldn't be on." They checked the doors, no doors unlocked, nothing. We went back in, we did the vigil, come back out, and all the lights were off. And no one had gone in there. So I said...
Some people would say that's just it's an electrical fault.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing was, there's 3 rooms in this cottage, and all the lights in every room were on. And I said, well, it could be one of these timers to make it look as if someone's there. So there's either that or there is something strange going on. But Jamie said that they're not on timers. It was almost as if someone had been in there. And I'm like, well, if they'd been in there, they've probably gone back in and turned the lights back off again because they've realised we're here.
Yeah.
But it was sort of strange. And that's why I like the paranormal so much, because I'm what I call a believer, a skeptical believer.
Yeah. That's important, I think.
Yeah. I believe it. I do believe in spirit, but I'd rather look at the scientific solution or answers to what we're seeing first before I go down the road of that's a ghost.
So how would you explain your sighting of John then?
And that I couldn't explain. I don't know. I mean, the lights were on, so I can't say it was my brain filling in the blanks. You know, when you get into a darkened room, your mind can only see so much because that's what the eyes allow you to see.
Yeah.
And like with peripheral vision, the images from the side of your vision are not 100%, so your brain fills in the blanks. And it'll be the same with at night time. If your eyes aren't fully fixed to the dark, your brain fills in the blanks of what your vision can't see.
Yeah.
But all the lights were on, and I clearly saw this face, and it knocked me backwards because he literally came up the stairs and went straight in face to face with it.
Was it just his face you saw, and what was it, translucent, or was it full colour?
I could see right through it, but I could make out colours. I could make out textures. His cheeks were fairly spotty, like the sort of like the concaved spots rather than the ones that poke out. They were the ones that were going inwards.
Yeah.
And you could make out I could even make out the single strands of hair in his beard. But I could still see straight through him.
Yeah.
That's how clear the image was to me. I could still see through him, but I could make out features and single hair strands. I don't scare easily. You know, I'm not like some people. You know, you hear something drop and you scream and run off or whatever. You know, I'm like, oh my God, I love this. I need to go and check it out. But that made me jump to the point where I fell backwards, almost into the arms of Jamie, who was right behind me. And it scared him that much that he ran after me. As I ran down the stairs, he was running behind me because he didn't want to be up there on his own. So, and on past experiences, they know that something up there is not nice.
Yeah.
And so, of course, he didn't want to be up there on his own. When I experienced that, he was like, nah, sod this. I'm off. And it's,
see you later.
And it's not the only time something like that has happened. I think it may be about 10 years ago now at Harwich Redoubt Fort.
Yeah.
And we were in the prison cells. And I don't know if you know Harwich Redoubt.
No, I've never been.
Right. It's an old Napoleonic fort that was built in 1810. And up until the Second World War, it was always used by the military for coastal defence or coastal and air defence of Harwich and Felixstowe ports.
Right.
And they used it to house down German pilots while they were waiting to be shipped off to the POW camps. And they had a section there which was then continued to be used as a prison block. And it had 3 cells in it. And the second cell, well, each cell was done up the way it was during World War II. So you had the pull-down bed from the wall with the old mattress with the itchy blankets on, the old table with the metal cup and the knives and forks and everything.
Yeah.
But in each cell, there was a mannequin dummy dressed up as a German pilot. And over the years, I got to call him Klaus, this particular one mannequin. Typical stereotyping name, but his name was Klaus. I nicknamed him Klaus. And me and another investigator, Claire, we're in the cell block. We've gone into cell 2. I've stood in the doorway. She sat down to the left by the table. And in the opposite corner to her, which would have been sort of 12 foot sort of diagonally to my right, was this mannequin dummy. And we'd put a trigger object down on the bed, and it was like a boxing ring with a red light in each corner, and you put the ball in the middle and set the alarm on it. Of course, these flipping red lights kept flashing away. And Claire turned around to me and said, you know what, every time those red lights are flashing, that mannequin's moving. So I'm looking, and I'm really straining because all the lights are out apart from these red lights on this trigger object. I'm not, no, that's not moving. I said, but something is going to happen, and soon, because I can feel the atmosphere is changing, and something's going to happen. And as I said that, this mannequin dummy just went straight at me. It literally a foot off the ground. I've gone, oh shit, wow. And I've grabbed it. The head has fallen off and landed at my feet. Poor Claire's gone, F that, I'm not here for this. And boom, she's left me on my own.
Again, someone else has run off.
Yeah, she shot off out into the courtyard because Harrods Redoubt 40s are like a big donut shape.
I was going to say, is that the round one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's got like a Narnia's lamppost right in the middle.
Yeah.
Now, she's gone running out of the cell block, and she stood underneath that lamppost where it's the brightest point in the whole place. And I'm gone, would someone like to come and help me, please? I'm shouting out. I needed help. And 3 people came in. They were in the 3rd cell, and they were filming a dowsing rod experiment. And they said, we've got it on camera. I said, what have you got on camera? So they rewound it, and they're standing there in the cell saying, if there are anybody here, if there's any spirits here with us, can you cross over the rods? And as the rods crossed over, you hear her go, F that, I'm not here for this. And they've gone, what the hell? They've turned and they've pointed the camera down the corridor that leads out into the courtyard. You see her run out into the courtyard, and this little ball of light came out of the cell, followed her out. And then they came into my cell to see me standing there holding this mannequin. And they were like, what's happened? So I explained it all, and they've gone, oh my God. But then it wasn't until a week later we got the weirdest information, and that was from the owners of the fort.
Yeah.
Told us that they caught that on CCTV camera, and as a result, they've had to tie that mannequin dummy to the wall so it doesn't happen again.
Health and safety.
And now it's got to the point where they've actually locked the cell doors so you can't physically go in there anymore. And
that makes sense. That's good for their location, surely.
In a way, it was, but
if they're tying it up, then it's not going to hurt anyone.
It didn't bother me. I was the adrenaline.
You had the experience,
pumping. Yeah. But I wanted it to happen again, so that the next time I went back, I untied him from the wall because it was only chicken wire. So I just unwound the chicken wire. Let it down by the side and went, go on then, do it. Well, they've got CCTV cameras in all the cells. And I'm like, I don't care. If they see me do it, they see me do it. But they will also see me tie it back up afterwards.
Nah.
So I did the honourable thing and tied him back up.
Yeah.
But it never happened again.
No, it's just that one time only.
Yeah. But their excuse was that the walls and the paintwork on the walls there are the original paintwork from World War II, and people were writing their names into the wall.
Okay.
And that was ruining it for them. Yeah. So they said, we've locked them off because of that reason, and they've kept the 3rd cell open so that you can actually go into that cell.
Yeah.
You just can't in the other 2. And I'm like, yeah, but you've closed the other 2 that have the most activity.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, this is a paranormal investigator's dream, going into these places that have got lots of activity in every time you go there, and they've gone and closed it off. So I can't read what she's put.
Wow, a reaction to them potentially. I think when she ran out the cell.
Yeah.
And then that.
But I found out since that Claire has left working in the paranormal, and it was because of that. She works, or until the last I knew, she was working at Rochford Hall near Southend, and that is haunted. And yet she won't go in any of the areas that are haunted.
Question for you: people that go and search for ghosts potentially, and they go on these investigations, ghost hunts. For me, seeing activity and having things happen to me personally, that's the buzz. I don't understand people when they say, "Oh, I can't take it," or I mean, I don't know this lady. That's up to her, it's personal choice. But I just think that's a bit strange.
Yeah,
I would love that.
For
More
her,
Mario,
I mean, she was part of a group that I don't think they took it 100% seriously.
Okay.
I think they were just doing it for the night out and for the fun of it, as well as the buzz, because I know there was a bit of a certain amount of solvent abuse with a couple of the team, and it sort of gave them that extra buzz. And obviously, as soon as I found all this information out, I'm like, see you later. I don't do none of that. And don't want to be a part of it. So to me, the way I saw it was they were there just for the fun of it, and rather than the serious side of things. And the experience that she had was probably the worst experience that any of them had had. And so she was like, no, I can't be doing this. And so she just walked away from it, and that group has just fallen apart as a result. Whether it's a good thing or not, I don't know. But, you know, it's one thing having fun, but if you're going to do that all the time, you know, you've got to have some seriousness there. And I do like the serious side. I can have fun and have a laugh, just like everybody. But there is a time when you have to be serious, because that's the reason why you do it. So, you know, I personally think that every once in a while, if things are a bit quiet and not much is happening, having a bit of a giggle, positive energy is stronger than negative energy. So as far as I'm concerned, if we all, you know, someone cracks a joke, like we did down at the Priory. When we were all down there.
Hitchin Priory.
Hitchin. Yeah, when we were all down there and, you know, things were a bit quiet, we had a bit of a giggle, and all of a sudden things started happening. And we do this on the events, you know. You get guests there that sort of feel very reluctant to start calling out or asking, and you're just standing there going, oh, for God's sake, just say something, just say anything. So you end up stepping in and saying, if there are any spirits in here, can you come forward, please? Touch one of us, say something.
Make a sound.
And you pick one of the people that could be quite possibly the scaredest of them all. I go, can you touch Martin on the shoulder? And he'll go, oh, no, don't you touch me. And everybody else starts laughing. Then all of a sudden, things start happening. And they're like, this is why we do this. We'll give you the laugh, so that positive energy builds up. And it's more for spirit to take. And you can use that to its advantage. And, you know, I think sometimes people can either take it too seriously or mess about too much. You need a happy medium.
I've been on investigations, and you know, when you're trying to get something to happen, but obviously like public events, I mean, and the other groups in different parts of the building, all you can hear is them like messing about and giggling and laughing. It's just like, fuck's sake. It really, you know, like you say, it's good to have a laugh from time to time, but when you're trying to get something and the other group is just, for whatever reason, they're just messing about or laughing and giggling, that really gets on my nerves. It's just, I just want to shout at them.
I think as well, when you can hear another group laughing and joking, then you're in too closer proximity of each other.
Exactly, yeah. Unfortunately, some places are like that, though, aren't they?
Yeah, and I mean, we had Harrods Redoubt Fort as prime example. Although it's a fort and it's the shape of a donut, sound carries. So if one person's in the Napoleonic bunkhouse, which is one side of the fort, and the cell block is on the other, and someone screams or shouts in the cell block, you can hear them in the bunkhouse. The only place you can't hear anybody saying anything or screaming or laughing is if you're in the dry moat that sits around the outside of the fort. But that is a whole new ball game with that, because there's a little drummer boy that walks around. And he plays games. He loves the games. you can go out because that's where they have their smoking area. So if you were to go out into the dry moat to the smoking area, you will hear, usually from about 11:30 onwards, you can hear what sounds like a single snare drum.
Oh, really?
And that's it. You can hear that rapping away. So you're like, well, which way is that coming from? And you can pinpoint it. And 9 times out of 10, it's the other side of the fort. So you walk around the outside in the dry moat, round to the other side, and it will go back to where you started from. So you go back, and then he will toy with you constantly. And I've gone out there and I've gone, right, we want to try and fool this if it is anywhere. So 2 people go out. We both heard it. One person went one way round, one person went the other way round. So you guarantee if you're going to meet him, one of us is going to meet him on the way round.
Yeah.
No, as soon as we got round the other side, he was playing back on the other side again. It's like, no, I'm giving up. It's crazy. It is a crazy place. And, you know, and that's all part and parcel of the experience, though. And that's why I love it so much. You know, you get all these crazy people do like Red Bull mountain biking and things like that to get their buzzies. And
that made me feel sick on Facebook. Watching them on them reels. Wow.
The only thing I could say that beats the buzz of paranormal investigating is skydiving.
Have you done that?
Yeah.
I'm scared of heights, but I bet it's amazing.
I did quite a few skydiving jumps when I was in the Royal Air Force. So
Okay.
It's one hell of experience, and you get down, and the very first time I did a full jump, I couldn't get up when I touched ground. I sat down, and I couldn't get up for about 20 minutes. My legs just didn't want to move. They were so pumped up, full of energy. Yeah. And the adrenaline was pumping that hard that I got to that stage where I'm like, I'm not going to work no more. That's it. I'm staying here for a while.
I'm all floppy.
Once the adrenaline calmed down, then, you know, I was able to get up again. But I'm like, I've got to do something because I've got my chute behind me, which is still flapping in the wind. So I sat there and carried on picking it up. And you're just reeling it in from where you're sitting. And I'm like, I'm staying here. I ain't moving. Yeah. But, you know, and I think that's why I enjoy it so much, because it's that adrenaline kick. Are we going to get the evidence that we need? Are we going to see or hear something? And I think when you're with a group and collectively you get different experiences, even when you hear of people that are in a different group to you but in the same location, there's still a buzz.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, well, if you got that in that location, maybe I should go into there and see whether I get the same experience.
Yeah.
And it just continues throughout the night. And you think, well, if so-and-so got this, maybe we'll get it.
Or something.
And we'll be able to experience what they've got.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things, isn't it?
Yeah. So, Wayne, after 28 minutes, what started you in the paranormal? What sparked your interest?
Right. My granddad started my interest in the paranormal.
Okay.
It's not that I'm thankful to him, because I'd rather my granddad still been here instead of what happened. But basically, he used to be the foreman in a shipyard.
Right.
And I think he was about 2 months away from retirement. And he was just checking everything was in place before he clocked off and went home. Only he never clocked off. He was inspecting some of the steel for the ships that were being built. Yeah. And they were stacked up in a pyramid. And as he was checking them, they collapsed on him. And newspaper article said he died on the way to hospital, but there is no way you're surviving getting all that land on top of you. So I personally think he'd have died instantly. Well, I'd like to think he did.
You'd hope so, yeah.
And it was about a couple of days later we were told that my granddad had gone. And that killed me, almost literally killed me. Yeah. Because I was closer to my granddad than any other member of my family. He taught me to read before I even started school. And so there was this big personality in my life gone just like that without even the chance of me saying goodbye. And for about 6 months after that, I swear blind that he kept coming into my room at night to check on me to make sure I was all right. And when I mentioned it to my family, they all turned around and said, "Oh, it's because you've missed him so much. It's because he's not there. This person in your life has gone. That's why you're seeing him. It's your brain telling you that he's there." And I said, "But I can see him. He's standing at the bottom of my bed. He was a spitting image of Lee Marvin."
Right.
Just an English version of Lee Marvin. He had these big old ears, and you could tell it was him. And it turned out I was having conversations with him. And Mum thought I'd gone round the bend. So, of course, the usual child psychologists have gone into it and started looking and gone, well, you know, it's quite possible that because he was such a big person in Wayne's life, that could be the reason why he's imagining his granddad's still there. So he's visualising that he's in his room saying goodnight. And he said, but there is a difference. He said, normally, if you're imagining that somebody is there, a conversation with that person would be so short and sweet that it would be a question followed by an answer. Then it would be a completely different question with an answer, not related to the first question.
No, it wasn't follow-on questions, no.
Yeah. So, but Wayne wasn't doing that. Wayne was having question, answer, follow-on question, answer, follow-on question, answer. And it was literally like an interview. You know, it was question after question after question, and they're all related. And they always ended up that with Nana was all right, and Mum's all right, Rachel's all right, my sister, and, you know, good night, Grandad, love you. And then after 6 months, it stopped. And it wasn't for a good 10 years after that my mum turned around and she said, I think the reason why you stopped seeing your granddad at night was because your personality and the way you thought about things had changed in that time.
Yeah.
And Grandad was quite possibly happy that I was okay.
Well. Yeah.
And that I was coping with it all. And so he stopped visiting, but he would still be looking over you. And I'm a strong believer that he has been looking over me, because I've had 3 incidences in my life where technically I should have died and haven't.
Oh, wow.
Shortly after.
How old? Sorry, before you carry on, how old were you when you were seeing
I think I was 5 or 6 when my granddad was killed.
Right, okay.
I was 6 because it was 1980 when he was killed. Okay. And then it was shortly after that I had an accident on my bike. I thought I was Evel Knievel.
Didn't we
and the only problem was I wasn't Evel Knievel. And I went over this little mound. I was going full pelt down this hill. And I went over this mound. The bike carried on up in the air. I didn't. And I went headfirst into a rock. And anybody that gets close to me will notice it. It's very obvious. I have a scar there.
Yeah.
And a scar over my left eye. And that was from the rock. My head just went into this rock. The guy that lives next to this hill heard me screaming. And he's come down. He's picked me up. He's taken me back to home. They've rushed me up to the hospital. The doctor turned around and said, we need to get some more blood into him. He's lost too much blood. They thought I was going to die. And so they sealed all the wounds up, got it all stitched up. And apparently I never cried until they went to give me a tetanus shot.
They hurt.
And that they gave to me in my backside. And apparently, according to my mum, I turned around to the doctor and said, why are you putting it there? I hurt my head, not my bum.
Wow.
But they reckoned that I lost too much blood. I should have technically died. But I didn't. Then I was involved. I had an issue when I was in the Royal Air Force where a position we were in, we didn't realise, but we were about to have a mortar shell, an unexploded mortar shell go off in a crater that we were standing in. We didn't realise it was there.
Yeah.
And literally 30 seconds after coming out of that crater, it exploded. something told us to get out of that crater, so we did. And literally 30 seconds later, it went.
Wow.
And I'm like, shit, if I'd have still been in that crater, I'd have gone up with that. And then I had a coach crash, which was interesting. Driving up to Norwich with a football team. I'm driving, and as I'm going along the road, there's a co-op lorry in front of me and a car in front of him. And this car decides he wants to turn right at the last minute. So he slams his brakes on. The lorry slammed his brakes on. I slammed my brakes on, and there weren't no brakes.
Oh.
We borrowed a coach from a company that we were friends with.
Yeah.
And they'd given us this coach to use. And I put my foot on the brake and there's nothing there. The spokesman for the team's going, brake, Wayne, brake. And I'm what do you think I'm doing? I'm pumping the brake. I'm trying to go through the gears. I'm trying to activate the handbrake. Nothing. And with a split second, something told me, just go into the back of the lorry. And I had three choices. Go into oncoming traffic and kill whoever's coming the other way. Go through the trees and kill myself, the spokesman, and whoever's sitting directly behind us.
Yeah.
Or just stop to take myself out. And by this point, we'd slowed down a bit, but I think it was a 33 mile an hour impact into the back of the lorry. And I just opted for the back of the lorry. I just went, see you later, everybody. Closed my eyes. And then all I remember was hearing the window shatter. And then when I opened my eyes again, my eye was still behind the steering wheel. My left hand was trapped between my leg and the steering wheel. And I could hear the spokesman go, Wayne, are you all right? Are you all right? I went, give us a second and I'll let you know. I got out from behind the steering wheel, switched the engine off, got off the bus, lit up a cigarette. I went, I'm fine, everybody off. And the lorry driver had called the police and the ambulance. He had told them that I had gone into the back of the lorry. So they were expecting me to be dead. They all, both the police and the ambulance, had brought a body bag with them. And they got there. They got to the scene. They were going, man, where's the driver? Where's the driver?
Hello.
Why isn't he in the driver's seat? And they all went, there's the driver. Then there's me standing there smoking the fag. I'm like, hey, I'm all right. And they're like, no, we were told that you'd be dead. We've brought a body bag. And I went, well, sorry for not filling that body bag, but I'm very much alive. And they couldn't believe it. And they I mean, obviously with an RTA, they do breathalyze you as a course of action. And I'm teetotaler. I don't hardly drink. So, of course, they're all like, well, you passed your breath test. Here's your memorabilia plastic tube to take home with you. Yay, I'm so grateful. You know, and they literally, and they were like, I tell mum what happened. She's like, that's the third time you should have died. Granddad's watching over you, or something was watching over you.
Not your time.
But I've always been into it, you know, and it's been always been ghosts, ufology.
Yeah,
I do like all this business about the possibility of there being something else out there apart from us.
I think
and I sort of then, when I started working with Most Haunted, I sort of pushed the UFO side of things out the way. And then when I left working with Most Haunted and I started doing Truth Beyond Paranormal, I started going back into the UFO stuff again, to the point that we did an investigation at Rendlesham Forest. We were,
I want to go there.
We were watched by the MOD from the moment we arrived to the moment we left. And I think it's because they knew what was coming. Because while we were there, myself and Mark Manley witnessed 6 unidentified objects, including the big black triangle. And we got a photo of it.
Wow. That's amazing.
And Mark has actually taken another photo, and just recently as well. He was up in Scarborough, and he was just driving home from somewhere, and he saw it in the sky. And he pulled over at the lay-by and took photos of it. And it was exactly the same as the one we saw at Rendlesham Forest. But from the moment we got there, we had Two guys in a pickup came down to the east gate and stood there watching us. And then when we moved down to the main road that goes past the bottom of the runway, we're standing there filming a little bit of introduction.
Yeah.
They drove down to the bottom of the runway, got out and stood there watching us. And then as we went down the footpath to where the alleged landing site was, they'd gone back to the east gate, parked in the car park and started walking down the front behind us. And they'd been there all night watching us, keeping an eye on us to see what we were up to. But it was weird because we'd had two objects fly over from west to east. Then we had an object north and south of the clearing, but didn't move. They were static, and then they just disappeared. Then we saw on the eastern horizon, we saw an object going from south to north, but it was waving as it was going along. It was doing like a wave formation. And then we saw this black triangle right above our heads. Now, the moon was out. There was only a few wispy clouds, but the wispy clouds were going underneath this object because you could see the moon reflecting off them, off the clouds.
Yeah.
Mark took the picture, and swear to God, you could not see any stars in between these three lights of the triangle. But you could see the stars outside the triangle, which meant whatever object was there, it was solid.
Yeah, it was in the way, yeah.
And we were like, Mark's going, Wayne, look at this, look at this. So I'm like, Sam, our director, Sam and Marcus, her husband, we were like, look up there, quick. And after a couple of minutes of just staring at it, it disappeared. But then all of a sudden, two fighter jets from Lakenheath screamed over in an easterly direction. And we checked on the Flight Aviation Authority's website.
Yeah.
There was no objects leading up to the point these two fighter jets flew over.
To make sure that it disappeared.
Yeah. But everything was going in an easterly direction. Very, very strange. So that increased my interest in ufology and disclosure and all of this. And I'm a little bit into cryptozoology as well. So I've always, since my granddad died, I've always been into that sort of thing one way or another. And it wasn't until I started working with Most Haunted that it sort of started to take over. And then once I left working with Most Haunted, that was it. Full-time job for me.
So what's your favourite, Bigfoot? Is it Loch Ness Monster? Slender Man?
I'm very intrigued by Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Because I think there is something in it.
I'd love to go Bigfoot hunting in America.
Yeah. The likes of Slender Man and Siren Head, I think they're urban legends. I think they're stories that have been told to people either for entertainment or to scare kids, or don't go down there on your own because Slender Man might be there or Siren Head might chase you out. And so they're just urban legends. I think, but with Bigfoot, I can't see why there isn't, because when you look at different cultures around the world, they all have a form of Bigfoot.
Bigfoot, yeah.
Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yeti, abominable snowmen. They're all sort of similar to what we are. Us as human beings, depending on where on the planet we live, we look slightly different. We sound slightly different. And this would be the same with the Bigfoot. With all those with different names for it and different appearances, it's all down to their environment that they live in. And in all honesty, I wouldn't be surprised that they would hide out the way, because human beings, as a being, are very inquisitive. And we want to know how it works. Why is it so tall? Why is it all covered in matted fur and all of this? We'd want to do experiments on it to find out how it works.
Yeah.
We'd be cruel to it. We'd cage it.
100%, yeah.
And so it would want to hide out the way. I think if I was a Bigfoot, I would be staying as far away from human population as possible. And I would defend it.
It's a question for you. Why have we never found Bigfoot remains then?
I think we have.
Okay.
I think Bigfoot remains have been found, but they've been made to disappear.
Kept quiet. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Smithsonian have removed all these giant skeletons that have been found. And it was quite well known. There was a group of giant skeletons. They worked out between 10 and 15 foot tall in China. Photographs were taken, and the Smithsonian came in and took the lot. Now you can't find any evidence of the find. But at the time, when the Chinese government first found it, they put pictures up on their website, and then all of a sudden just disappeared. And me and Mark have experienced this since. Yeah. With this so-called city on the dark side of the moon. Me and Mark had found, when we were doing the Dark Mirror radio show, we were doing a bit of research, and we looked into this so-called allegations of this city on the dark side of the moon. And we'd found photos, and there are structures on the dark side of the moon. There are tubes going out of crater walls and into the floor of the crater. There's lights on the sides of the crater. We were like, these have got to be AI.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, all of the information that we'd found vanished. When we went to do a live show to actually announce the fact that the Chinese have got a website, Chinese government website, that is showing all these photographs, the website had been shut down. And the only people that would have shut that down would have been the Chinese government.
Wow.
So we're like, there's definitely got to be something into all this.
Oh yeah, 100%. I love conspiracy theories. Yeah, I love all that stuff.
And when we're looking at disclosure, they keep saying them, and we said it last night on our show last night, the Dark Mirror radio show, that it seems to me that there's social media is wonderful for spreading false information.
Yes.
And with the advent of AI, makes it a lot easier to spread that misinformation.
Yeah.
But what they're doing is we think that, or our theory is that for every authentic video there is out there are conspirators out there that will deliberately put thousands of rubbish videos in there to blindside you and push you out of the way of the real one. And they're doing it on purpose. But we also think they're trying to drip feed this business about life on other planets. We've uncovered that the Pope had a conclave meeting, all the cardinals and bishops, and they were asking the question on how do we tell the people of our faith about beings from other worlds. 2 weeks they had this meeting for, just to discuss it. They don't even take that long when they decided a new Pope.
No.
But they took 2 weeks to decide what were they going to do to tell the people of their faith about beings from other worlds.
I'd say it's got a lot more conclusive in the recent years that a lot of people just assume, there is, because, why wouldn't there be? We're not the only one in the infinite universe.
I mean, the problem is you've got two factions. You've got a faction of the people that want to believe or do believe.
Yeah.
And then you've got the people that don't want to believe and are adamant that we are the only known living things in the universe, despite the evidence saying otherwise. Mm-hmm. They will then turn around and say, well, that's NASA saying that there is a nice green and blue planet so many light years away that will have life on it because it's green and blue. So it's just them telling you there's something out there, whereas in fact there isn't. And then you get the flat earth theorists, and you're like, no, gravity doesn't work like that. So, how does a flat earth work if there's no gravity?
Yeah.
Did someone stand there with super glue and stick our feet to the floor then? Gravity don't work that way. So, and so you're going to have these different factions of people. But it's the religion side of things, it's convincing them now that there is something out there. And they've spent so many years believing that they are the only known things on this planet and universe. but they've got to figure out a way of drip feeding it back to them that there's something else out
so
there.
that it's just the normal that you can accept it at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to have to. I mean, they're saying now that with this latest form of disclosure, I think it was sometime this year, there's got to be full disclosure, and then by 2027 they'll be foolproof, because they are going to come down. They're going to park their ships out on the oceans, but in places where they can be seen by everybody.
Yeah.
And they're going to stay there for a period of time, and then they'll introduce themselves. Because by then we'd have got used to their being there.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
every time you seem to get close to that disclosure, something big happens, like the American elections or the war in the East. Things like that will happen.
Yeah.
That sort of blindsides people away from what was going on. So there's always something else to happen to sort of take your mind off of what really is happening.
Yeah, what they're trying to tell you, but something. Yeah, they do that all the time though. With everything, everything's important. Like a bad news story that people start questioning it, and then something else will happen. Then they, what was that? I forgot what that was about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The original story gets forgotten because now we're talking about this story, and then something else will happen, and that story will disappear. And it seems to be sort of an ongoing thing, and that's what we do on the Dark Mirror. We do tend to specifically talk about aliens and UAPs, but 9 times out of 10, we all sort of start off in the first 15, 20 minutes, we're like the latest sightings, and then all of a sudden we'll go off on a tangent, and we end up talking about government conspiracies and what's going on then with some bloke down the road, and it just tends to turn into sort of total chaos, which I think is quite amusing, and it sort of makes the night, I think, because I think if you just sit there talking about aliens and UFOs and the possibility of them coming here, you can guarantee that one person out of all those viewers that are watching could get spooked by it.
Yeah.
And you don't want to cause panic.
No, definitely not.
So we sort of tend to sort of move away quickly and sort of come out with something else. So yeah, it's quite a giggle.
Yeah, sounds good. Just before we carry on, I did not know you were on Most Haunted or worked with Most Haunted. Can we just talk about that, please?
You're the only person that has ever said, "Can we talk about that?"
Oh. See, I know nothing about your experience with Most Haunted. So
normally I say I'd rather not talk about it because
this is live. I do apologise.
It's one of the reasons. It's one of the reasons why I eventually had nothing to do with them.
Okay, that's fine. I didn't know the situation. And
it's. I mean, for a long time.
What did you do with them then?
Right, for a long time, I was working behind the scenes. I was the admin of the Facebook groups.
Okay.
And social media, and this is where my author's career kicked off as well.
Okay.
So I started off as admin on the group, and I was putting things in, and then I was going to the odd investigation, and then I started working on the Most Haunted Experience events.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I ended up being one of the team leaders for groups within the events, and then I was supposed to become the head of the southern region of Most Haunted Experience, running the southern events alongside Fred Batt, and then on occasion Stuart and Carl would come down, and we did places like Guildford, Town Hall, Fort Widley, London, London Bridge Experience, and all those bits.
Okay.
And in the end, it got to a stage where I was seeing and hearing things I didn't like. I was annoyed at Stuart because Carl had asked me to do something regarding Stuart. Him and his little team were in the room next door to ours, and Carl asked me to can I go into Stuart and ask him to keep the noise down. And I sort of waited for them to be sort of have a normal conversation so I could knock on the door and go in.
Yeah.
And I opened the door and I just said to Stuart, I said, sorry to bother you. I said, but Carla said, can you lower the noise down a bit? Stuart told me to fuck off. Sorry, excuse my language.
Yeah.
He literally just point blank told me to F off. And I just turned around and went, you don't talk to me like that, sunshine. I don't give a shit who you are. And I slammed the door on him and I walked back in there. And it was after that event, because that event was down at Athelhampton House. And it had taken me 5.5 hours to get there.
Ooh,
and when I got there, they waited till I got there to tell me that there was no room in the hotel for me. And I went, you're having a laugh. When one of my team that lives in Southend had been given a room for the night, and he got a twin room, I found out. So I turned around and said, right, I've driven for an extra hour than he has, and you're not prepared to give me that room with him in a twin room. Yeah. And I said, you're taking the Miki. I'm not having this. And then so I'd already decided that once the event had finished, I was going straight home. And I did. I literally, soon 2 o'clock hit, got back in the vehicle, drove straight home again. 4.5 hours it took me to get home. And it was a couple of days later, I was down at Stratford and I was talking to Fred on the phone and I said, I've had enough. I can't do this no more. I'm walking away. So I literally just walked out of everything. And I had Jenny, the locations manager, turn around and said, oh, I hope to work with you again in the future. I'm like, no, you won't. No. Not after what I've seen and heard. And they're things I will not talk about.
No.
But needless to say, they are one and two of many reasons why I will not work with them again.
To be fair, I know lots of people, and I know lots of people that have worked with them, experienced them, and there's so much bad stuff, if I can say that, without going into details, that people know about that goes on. Don't blame you, to be fair. No. So it's not good.
In a sense, I'll be thankful to Most Haunted because they were, in a sense, the stepping stone for me. You know, a stepping stone for my journey. So I can be thankful for them because if it wasn't for them, I would not have started Wayne Seaden Presents Spookinory. Spookinory would not have existed if it wasn't for Most Haunted. And that was ghost stories that I wrote myself.
Yeah.
But I would do either a pre-recorded or I'd do live. When Most Haunted was in between a series, to fill that gap, I would do things like read a ghost story.
Yeah, I remember them.
Then I started writing them myself under Wayne Seaden Presents Most Haunted Spookinory. Well, because they weren't under license from Carl, I was able to walk away with them. They were mine.
Yeah.
So he couldn't stop me. So I walked away with them, and my mum then turned around to me and she said, you need to get them published.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. And I went round various publishers. They were like, if you ain't got an agent, we don't want to know. And I'm like, well, I'm not paying out shed loads of money for an agent.
No.
And then it was suggested I self-publish.
On Amazon?
So I'm like, on Amazon.
Yeah.
Lady next door, her ex-daughter-in-law, she started off self-publishing on Amazon. And I think she wrote about 6 books. And a publisher approached her and said, we would like to sign a contract with you to publish your books. And
oh, wow, that's good.
As a result, she's been out to brand new cars, going out on cruises, extensions on her house. And she's now on her 9th or 10th book since she started being an author.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe that's the way forward. But the difference with that is I'm not interested in about how much I make from those books. My payment is people enjoying my stories.
Yeah. So how many books have you done? Have you written?
Right, I've currently published 4 books. And that's I've got them here. Look at that. Oh, I've got 3 of them. My first book was A Whistle from the Hills.
Okay.
Which is quite nice, based in Crete during World War II and modern day.
Yeah.
Then we have what Amazon have classed as the bestseller, and this is the only book they actually stock in their warehouse, and that's Lady J.
Oh, I've heard of that
And that,
one. Yeah.
and that's about guys who go into an abandoned building for the night because they're tired and they haven't got the time to get to where they're supposed to be going, and then all hell breaks loose. And then we have Cricket, which is I think it's a nice Mother Nature paranormal story, which is about a little boy that has an incurable illness, and Mother Nature steps in. And then I've got Job Done, which is about a guy who takes on a job and gets rewarded in the most weirdest of ways. He's a builder.
Fair
And he
play.
takes on a job and he gets rewarded in the strangest of ways, which for the better. And I'm currently on my fifth one at the moment, which was one that I wrote probably about 7 or 8 years ago. Only when I looked back at it, I felt it wasn't long enough to be published.
All right.
So I decided to revisit the story, and as a result, I've added a completely new chapter at the beginning. There's more information in the chapters from there.
Yeah.
So it's made the story a lot longer, but it's also made it a lot better in the process. But in between all of that, I write a ghost story for Christmas because I've wanted to bring back the telling of a Christmas story on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
So I have about 6 Christmas ghost stories, and then eventually, once I've got enough, they will all be published as a compendium of Christmas ghost stories. So there'll be the collection that will come out in one book as Christmas specials.
I think that'll be a good seller, personally.
I'd like to think so, but again, like I say, with these books, I mean, everybody was saying to me, "You're selling them too cheap," and I'm looking at them and I'm going. At the time when they first were released, they were only £3.50.
Oh yeah, that's quite cheap.
And they were like, "Oh, they're too cheap. They're too cheap." And I'm like, "But that's no reason why I'm doing it. I'm writing these stories because I enjoy writing them, and I enjoy the fact that people are reading them. If I make 50p from selling a couple of books, then that's great. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting them to be Stephen King type books. I'm not expecting them to be, W.H. Smith bestsellers or anything, as long as someone buys them." And I was quite shocked when the first American buyer turned out to be Justin Spurrier, who was the tech manager for Zach Bagans.
Yeah.
And I'm like, seriously? And I spoke to him when he was on one of his journeys. Yeah. And he turned around to me and he said, "I will get the chance to read your book." He said, "I've brought it, but I haven't read it yet." And I'm like, I'm shocked that you even brought it, to be honest.
There you go, out in America. That's awesome.
Yeah. I've even had to sign up for the IRS. I have to be an American taxpayer because they're being sold over there as well. And I'm thinking...
Same with YouTube, you have to do that as well.
I'm a bit like Elton John. I like this.
Yeah, don't worry
just
about
a taxpayer.
In 2 countries.
But again, I mean, I get moaned at by my mum because she's like, "When's your next book out?" And I'm like, "Please stop," because I've got 4 children. One of them is autistic and has rheumatoid arthritis in his hips. And is currently on the list for a hip replacement. And he's only 15. So I'm dealing with all the stuff with him. Yeah. My youngest son, Freddie, is autistic and is currently being diagnosed with ADHD. So I'm dealing with everything that comes with that. I've got a daughter now that is being suspected of having ADHD. So we're dealing with that as well.
Busy house.
Yeah, so we've got the 4 children. We've got Spookinory events. We've got Truth Beyond Paranormal. All the podcasts that I do during the week as well. And so I'm like, "Mum, I will release the book when I release the book."
When I get round to it, yeah.
And I got to the point where I was so annoyed with it that I put a post on my Facebook, and it was a picture cover that I decided to make, because that's the good thing about self-publishing. You're in control of your book cover.
Yeah.
So I designed my book cover. I put it on Facebook, and I wrote the caption on it, "Some trains are late for a reason." And the book itself is called Overdue. And it is about a ghost train.
That's well good.
And when I was speaking to my mum, she turned around to me and she went, "Is that post aimed at me?" And I went, "Well, no, it's like a play of words to advertise the book." She went, "But it is a dig at me as well, isn't it?" I went, "Yeah, it is, because you're expecting it to come out straight away.
All the time, yeah.
And she was like, "But you've already written it." I said, "No, it was in original form. It was already written. But I'm extending it because I need that story to be a lot longer.
Yeah.
There's a lot more potential for it."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, all right then." And then my sister told her to back off, and she stopped asking about it.
Oh, bless mum.
Yeah. She's not too well at the moment, so.
Oh, let's hope she gets better. So we've had a question from Ali from Hauntex TV. What's your favourite piece of equipment to use on an investigation?
When my eyes are working properly, and I don't normally have to wear glasses.
He said that.
I would rather my own eyes and ears.
Yeah.
To me, that is the ultimate piece of equipment you could ever possibly have, because I feel that most times when you go out on investigations, they are personal experiences. But to make it a group experience, you need to have something like a video camera.
Yeah.
Whether it is a standard video or night vision video camera, you need something to record that evidence. So, me personally, it would be as a form of equipment, it would be a video camera, because that can be used for EVPs, it can be used for the visual and sounds, but ultimately your own eyes and ears, if you just want that personal experience, it's the only thing I could use. I mean, when we're filming for Truth Beyond Paranormal, we've used all these different apps. We've used Phasma and all these other different gadgets and bits and bobs. And I just think to myself, really, these can be manipulated. We've only got another person's word that K2 meter has gone up because that person's phone is in their pocket, but it's switched off. And that is a ghost. We've only got that person's word for it. So unless you've got a lockbox for everybody to stick their phones in at the beginning of the night and say, you will not have access to your mobile phones until the break time. So everybody goes out to those areas without any form of transmitter or receiver, then, it's open to interpretation and sort of deceive. Deceit. It's
also smartwatches affect equipment as well, which I've only found out recently, and I thought, oh dear, I got a Fitbit, so it's sort of a smartwatch, but not like some of the others. But
because things like the Fitbits and smartwatches, they've got receivers and transmitters in them.
Yeah, Bluetooth and all that. Yeah.
So anything that can be used as a receiver or transmitter is sending a signal out or receiving a signal.
Yeah.
So if you're too close to a K2 meter, especially if you've got it in your hand where the Fitbit or the smartwatch is there,
it's going to set it off.
Your K2 meter is going to go nuts.
Yeah.
So, I don't. It was weird when I first brought my first K2 meter. It cost me £38.
Yeah.
And I'm
was it the white one?
No, it was a black one.
Oh, that's
black one.
I never had. Black one. They look cool.
I do have one of the original most haunted EMF readers. The little black one with the red top on it.
Yeah.
And you had a little jack plug in which you could put plug a sensor to it.
Yeah.
And it was on a little cable. And if you spun it around too fast, the meter went crazy. I've still got that and it still works. But I'm like, why are they charging £38 for a K2 meter? Yeah. And after about 4 months, the K2 meter stopped working properly. So you had to undo it, put a new battery in, found it was still playing up. And I'm like, well, that was a waste of £38. I've now seen on Temu that you can pick them up for £7 each.
Yeah, I see that.
And all of the K2 offspring. So I'm like, well, great, brilliant. I'll have 6 of them. So I brought a couple of K2 meters. I brought a couple that are very similar, but they go up in bars rather than dots.
I've got that one. Yes, it's got like dots in it, and it's about that long. Yeah, it cost me like £4 off Temu.
Yeah, I mean, they're all various shapes and sizes, but I'm just like, do you know what? I'm quite happy with the ones I'm finding. And I mean, that basic K2.
Oh, that looks quite cool.
And it literally does the same thing as a K2 meter does, but it was about £3.80.
Exactly. Why are people overcharging? You know, because some people buy it, they see it on the telly, and think, "Oh, I need to get one of them."
Yeah. And then if you go down to specifics, you could go to Amazon and buy a proper electrician's EMF meter for £11.
Yes.
I think they're even cheaper now, but you can buy a proper electrician's EMF meter, which gives you the actual numbers to the readings. And that's more important, I think, rather than it's all about visuals. Oh, look, it's gone up to the red. No, well, hang on a minute. If it's gone up to a red, there's a reason.
Yeah.
But if you look at what the numbers are for that red, that's onto dangerous levels of EMF.
Yeah.
Because if you were to put that next to one of the electrician's EMF meters, that would be buzzing like crazy to say that's a high level of EMF radiation.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
And nobody notices it. They just go, "Oh, flashy light." They get all excited about it.
Yeah.
So I'm not really a one for. I would rather the traditional methods of investigating.
Yeah.
So things like dowsing rods, I'm not too keen on spirit boards, but I will use them. I do love trigger objects with a locked off camera.
Yes.
I do love that. And just recently we have been doing a few experiments doing the Estes method.
Yeah.
And I do like that. However, I do get annoyed when teams use radio waves. Okay. That is probably my biggest bugbear. Using radio waves, searching through an FM frequency, you are going to get words. There's 100% no doubt you are going to get words come through from a local radio station because it's the FM frequency. And I've done an experiment where we've just gone through the radio wavelength and stopped it on just white noise.
On static, yeah.
Left it at white noise. Didn't cycle through the frequency, just left it on a channel that had nothing on it. And we were still getting words coming through.
That's what you can ask for, isn't it? That's what you want.
To me, that is worthy of more evidence than rotating through a FM frequency, because next minute, you could be sitting there on the bed and all of a sudden Robbie Williams has said DJ in your ear. And I'm like, Robbie Williams isn't dead, so why has he just said DJ in my ear?
Yeah.
You're
getting a Dale song.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. From the other side. Literally.
So on although the Estes method is a good form of communication, I think it's how it's done is probably more important.
Yeah.
Because it can be open to interpretation. But I think it's each to their own. I'll never diss people for using different methods. If they're happy using apps and they're strong in believing those apps, then that's down to them.
Because
it's just my opinion.
You've got to remember, nothing is proven. So however you investigate, no one is right.
No. There's no right way of doing things. And in all honesty, I personally think there are no such things as how can I put it? I mean, you can be classed as a professional paranormal investigator if that's all you do for a living.
If that's your job, you get paid.
Yeah. If that's your job and that's what you get paid for, which is pretty much me, I can be classed as a professional. But I don't class myself as an expert.
No.
And people have gone to me, oh, you're in the know. You've been doing it for so long. You're an expert in the subject. I went, whoa, stop there. I'm not an expert. Because things change all the time. There's different ways of doing things that I may not do, but someone else has done and has got more experience in doing than I have.
Yeah.
But then in other side of things, I could be more experienced at certain methods than they are. So we're all as good as each other, and we're all out there looking for the same answers. None of us are experts. We're just experienced in the field.
Yeah.
And
so you can ask for, isn't it?
Yeah. That is all you can ask for.
Yeah. So talking about stories from your book writing,
yeah.
what stories or haunting stories, as it were, do you think are not true? Like famous cases about location. What are you gonna give me, Wayne? Come on.
East Drive. What a load of hogs wallop.
That's mine as well.
The biggest pile of horse poo I have ever known. I've been to East Drive, and I've never been so bored in my life. I even fell asleep on one of the beds in the bedroom where, surprise, surprise, the famous rope is. I didn't say that.
No.
Oh dear, did I just say that? Yeah. We stayed up there, I think it was 5 hours, and for 3 of them I spent up in the bedroom falling asleep. Yeah. Nothing happened. It was boring as hell. I even sat in the coal shed and read a ghost story from inside the coal shed, and I was bored to hell. And I'm like, the only reason why they have done this is because the production company that made the film when the lights went out had still got the house. Yeah. And they were still going to make money from it by renting it out to people to do paranormal investigations with. That's why all the movie props are still in there.
It's been booked. It's booked out for many years, every day, near enough every year. You know, it's
been a big money maker, and like the Enfield house, it's not haunted.
I want to go there. I want to experience it, but
there's nothing there. It's gone. Whatever was there has vacated. I've been told by somebody that lives very close to that house that the houses surrounding that house are more haunted than that house is.
Oh, wow.
And I've been down to Enfield. I've done the forest down there. And to be honest, that's scarier than the Enfield house. In all honesty, I took photos, I must be about 15, 16 years ago. Yeah. There's a pub down there on the edge of the forest, and I took some people down there for a meal, and I was sitting in the coach park or in the car park outside, and while I was sitting there, I took some photos. I just recently brought my new mobile phone, and they were all, what do you do about this camera? So I thought, well, I'll test the camera out. And I took 4 photos of a particular tree that was in the forest. It was a fair distance away from where I was. And the night feature come out quite well. But I noticed as I progressed through the pictures that this tree stump turned into a stag and then disappeared.
Oh.
And I'm like, how was that in 4 separate photos that I've taken, space of a second apart from each other? This tree stump has turned into a stag and then run off. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting a bit freaked out by this one. So I moved a little bit closer to the pub. I moved the coach closer to the pub. So I'm like, nah, I think I'll stick closer to the pub in case anything happens. I can get in there and get out of the way. It was really strange because it was, it was like whatever it was morphing into this deer and then just disappeared.
So is this a forest? Enfield Forest?
Enfield Forest.
Never
It's literally right near Enfield. It's a massive place.
Oh, wow.
You literally come off at, where is it? Waltham Abbey on the M25.
Yeah.
And then in towards London. So you come off You come off at the Waltham Abbey junction, and instead of going under the M25, you bear a left and you go back up. And then I think you come to a roundabout. Oh, sorry, not Enfield, Epping. That was
Forest.
it, Mark. You got it right.
I was going to say, I've been to Epping Forest.
Enfield.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I've been to so many different
Still
places.
in London, don't worry about it. It's all
Yeah,
good.
yeah, I suppose, North London. But I mean, it's close enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Epping Forest is amazing. Suicide Lake. Bizarre place.
Is that it? That's in Epping Forest, isn't it?
That's in Epping Forest.
Yeah,
and we filmed
I'm
down
going
there for
there this
Truth Beyond Paranormal.
I'm going there this year with West London boys.
Yeah. Don't go looking for Dick Turpin's cave, because you won't find it.
I have no idea. I'm just going along for the ride.
Yeah, apparently, I mean, one of the reasons why we went there was because we were told Dick Turpin's ghost floats about round there.
Okay.
And so we followed all knowledge resources of this hideout cave that he hid in for a number of days before he moved on.
Yeah.
And we were searching all over the place. We were looking at all the maps and everything else. And it turned out this bloody great big mound on the edge of this private road had been where his cave was. But the people on the private road were that fed up with tourists going down the road that they got it turned into a private road and then covered the whole thing with earth so no one could get to it.
That's a shame.
And you're like, you sods, because that was a good tourist trap. And they just ignored it.
Yeah. Yes, Ali, you can camp in Epping Forest. I've done it. So Wayne, I've got a couple of questions to finish, if that's all right, sir. So, your bucket list location, anywhere in the world, you can spend as long as you want there to investigate. Where are we going?
Queen Mary.
Right.
This is going to be a tour.
Okay, that's cheating.
This is going to be a paranormal tour.
It's even better.
The Queen Mary.
Yeah.
Waverley Hills.
Right. Yeah.
The Stanley Hotel.
Okay.
And then we're going to whisk over to Europe and go to the Acropolis.
Where's that?
In Greece, in Athens.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I've spent some time at the Acropolis during the day.
Yeah.
And it has got some strange atmosphere to it. And when I was there, we were on an area of rocks called St. Paul's Mount. And we heard, like a few years ago, there was this rumour of these horns of Jericho could be heard in the sky horns.
Yeah. Yes.
I could only describe it as that. Could be heard clearly. And all of the family members heard it. And we all stood there talking about it and discussing it. And they said, maybe that was someone in the amphitheatre over the road.
Yeah.
He's practicing for the orchestra. Well, as part of the day ticket to go into the Acropolis and the museum, you can also go to the amphitheatre included. So we went over to it. No one there. Just a caretaker knocking some nails into the wood on the stage. And that was it.
No horns, no music, nothing.
No musical instruments or anything yet. We looked all around, all over the place, and could not find anybody with musical instruments. But again, the sound was literally all around us. And we were like, well, so where's that coming from? We couldn't pinpoint it.
Yeah.
And I think it's also because obviously the history of the place and how much has gone on there, that I think it would be nice to sort of go there and sort of, I don't know, try and persuade the Greek government to let us go there and stay overnight to see what things from the past we could find. Why do we look at sort of Victorian age buildings or Napoleonic age buildings and go, that's haunted, let's stick to here? Why can't we go to these ancient places? The Colosseum, another one. I'd love to go in at the Colosseum. Could you imagine standing in there with an EMF meter, electronic voice phenomena recorder, stand there, call out, are there any spirits here with us in this Colosseum? And then when you play back the voice recorder, you can hear the sound of clanging swords and shields.
Yeah. That would be epic, wouldn't it?
That would be probably one of the biggest buzzes of your life, to hear something like that come through on EVP.
So much history over the years. That's awesome.
So, I mean, paranormal locations, there are so many, because as a paranormal investigator, you want to look for somewhere new. And when you've got 12,000 registered haunted locations in the UK alone, you haven't got enough life to visit every single haunted location.
No, you're not going to make it, really, are you?
No. So I think anywhere that's haunted is on my bucket list, to be honest. Anywhere that's haunted.
Just to experience it, see what happens.
One of the places I wouldn't mind going to is, for aliens, and that is Roswell and Area 51.
Oh, yeah.
I would also like to go to the edge of the forest where the Phoenix lights were seen.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name of the caves, but there's 2 caves in India where they have dated back something like 20,000 years. And sorry, that was Parapup. That was my Parapup. These caves date back 20,000 years, and they are perfectly flat, and they are literally straight wall up, and then a curvature on the top, which is a perfect semicircle.
Yeah.
And then flat down the other side. And they've said that with a laser spirit level, it is as flat as that. It is perfectly flat. And they're saying these caves are 20,000 years old. There's no way 20,000 years ago that the surface of that cave could be that flat. No way. Even the modern stone carving tools, without the use of computer technology, could not get them walls that flat. No. So, what carved out those walls?
Aliens, like the pyramids.
It is possible. I mean, again, it's all theories. It's all theories.
Yeah, we don't know.
You know, we all stand there and we say, well, how did they build the pyramids? And we're like, well, these stones, had to be transported from point A to point B. And the latest theory was frequency transported them stones.
Yeah.
You know, it's possible. Yeah. You look at a speaker and you put some sand on the top of the speaker and you play a certain tone, you get a certain image come out on top of that speaker.
Yeah.
So there's no reason why frequency can't be used to transport stuff.
Mark's got Cradle of Mankind in South Africa is a strange place to go to. Never heard of that. Mark.
I know one place as well, the chapel in Ethiopia, where supposedly the Ark of the Covenant is.
I thought the Germans burnt that when Harrison Ford was stuck in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
They took it back to what was it? Warehouse 13.
In that big storage place. And locked it away. Yeah.
Oddly enough, I got shown. Mark Manley showed me something the other day. The Ark of the Covenant appears in The Mandalorian.
What, in the Star Wars show?
The Star Wars series, The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
You see 2 robots loading the Ark of the Covenant onto a ship.
That's an Easter egg.
I thought, that is cool. I do like that idea. But yeah, the Ark of the Covenant is supposed to be at a chapel in Ethiopia, and there's one priest that guards it, looks after it, and his life is devoted to guarding the Ark of the Covenant, and nobody is allowed in. I find that fascinating.
I love all that stuff, like the Garden of Eden, and they reckon that Noah's Ark is in some rock formation I've seen on Google.
Yeah,
it sort of looks like an ark.
I don't know. I mean, I'm 6 of one, and half a dozen of the other, because they stand there and say, "Oh yes, Mount Ararat is the resting place of Noah's Ark."
Yes, yeah, that's it.
And I'm like, okay, but the story of Noah is just so far fetched. How could anybody believe that?
Yeah.
You know, Noah went round and collected 2 of everything. Well, he had to be very good at anatomy to know that every animal he got was a male and female. You got no choice.
How's he going to know that?
The Ark itself would have had to have been so much bigger than the Ark that they claim to have discovered. Because if you were to put every animal in the world on that Ark, the Ark that they've found is nowhere near big enough. Because you would have had to have separated carnivores from omnivores.
Exactly.
And omnivores and carnivores from herbivores. And you're like, Noah's Ark would be miles long. It wouldn't be the size that they're saying it is. It would be miles long. Because not only that, you got living quarters for his family as well.
Exactly.
So
Ali thinks that he heard that Noah's Ark was on Mars and that had to flood. And maybe the Ark was a spaceship and took us all to Earth. Now, I've heard stories that we all lived on Mars originally, and then that's why there's traces of life, like within the microorganisms or whatever that say a bit of water. And they travelled to Earth to repopulate. But
there is a theory. Whether I penned it first, I don't know, but I put it out. I know I put the idea out there, as far as I'm aware, of what I called the Star Trek Genesis theory.
Right.
That the Earth was formed, life began. The dinosaurs come along. Then our little future versions of us from another area has gone, we need to do a history experiment. So we'll do, and this is them talking to their younglings, their kids. They're saying, we're going to do a history and science experiment. So we're going to travel to this planet. When they've got there, they've gone dinosaurs. Right, okay, let's get them out of the way. So they've killed the dinosaurs off. Started with a blank canvas. They've gone, right, these genes are missing from this big gene pool. So we'll stick this in, and this in. Let them get on with it. And then every now and then they've come back to watch the evolution of the planet. Not just in the individual beings on the planet, but the whole planet as a whole. So it's become a science and history lesson for whatever being from another planet. And this is what the alien abductions and alien sightings and UFO sightings are all about, is them coming back to look at their experiment and see how we are evolving as a being.
Yeah.
And
why not?
When I've mentioned it to people, they've gone, well, actually, that would make sense. The extinction of the dinosaurs, our evolution, along with people seeing UFOs and being abducted and experimented on.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah,
and then when you combine it with disclosure, that's them turning around and saying, hello, we're the future versions of you. We've been visiting for donkey's years.
I don't think we'll ever know, but that's a great theory. So
I think we will, but I think the human mind as a whole and as a collective has to be ready for it. And I don't quite think we're ready for it yet. Possibly because our technology and the fact is that the humans are such a brutal race. We're constantly fighting with each other, bickering and arguing about what religion is better and who owns this and who owns that, and arguing over oil and all that rubbish. Until the human race has sort of come to terms with itself and become one, we're not going to get any further.
No.
It's a shame, really.
It is. Mark said that cradle of mankind was the first. That's where the first human was found there. So they say. So is that, Mark? Is that like Adam or Eve then? In theory,
as religion would go, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
But there's a hole with that, with the Adam and Eve, and the religion side of things. Because if you look at the Sumerian text, we go into a whole new ballgame. And that involves the Anunnaki and the Nephilim.
Okay.
And they are mentioned in the Bible.
Okay.
The shining ones.
I have no clue.
I'll let you work that one out. The Nephilim and the Anunnaki.
Yeah. I'll do my homework.
It goes very deep. And when you read the Sumerian translations about the Anunnaki creating humans and then one faction of the Anunnaki fell in love with its creation, and that then brought about the Nephilim. And this is where the good Anunnaki and the bad Anunnaki then became angels and demons in religion. And the angels then became the shining ones. There was a war. There was a war between the good and the bad. The bad were told to disappear. They were vanquished. And the good Anunnaki turned around and said, we've had enough of this, we're off. And left us to it. But it's mentioned. And when we look at it all, me and Mark between us, we've looked at all the timelines of all religions and all the floods and all these big things that have all happened roughly on the same timeline. And it all relates back to the Sumerian texts.
There must be something in that then.
Again, it's all theories. Until there's proof of it, there will always be a theory. You know, and it's been like that. And I think it's human discovery. You know, we all stood there for ages saying about, can we go as faster than light? You know, the Star Trek theory. Are we able to go warp factor 10 and go 10 times the speed of light through space? And they've stood there and, you know, a theory comes out, no, you can't go as fast as the speed of light. But it wasn't until technology caught up with itself that they turned around and said, well, actually, in the vacuum of space, if the object you're traveling in weighs nothing, zero mass, or you have got the technology to create negative mass, then providing you've got the right propulsion, there is no reason why you can't go as fast or faster than the speed of light. But then you've got other physics issues that are going to be there, which technology and science research will find those answers, but not quite yet. And they reckon that is one reason why people don't see, or not everybody sees the UFOs, is because some people, open-minded people like mediums and clairvoyants, they can see the frequency that these beings are using to cloak their aircraft. And that's why they can see them and we can't.
That's a theory, yeah.
So it's all theories, and then until we can sit there and do baseline tests to confirm that, that's all they're ever going to be.
Yeah. So Wayne,
wow.
My head's just up.
That was deep.
That was very deep. I'm digging my grave again, that is. So my last question for you, if you could get rid of one thing in the paranormal, it's gone forever, what would it be?
Charlatans,
yeah, ripping people off.
Yep. Rip-off artists, people that take money off of people and, excuse my French, give a shit show. Mm-hmm. I mean, even on my events, when I do an event, I don't do it for the money. I do it because I enjoy investigating and I want people to enjoy the experience with us. So we will look at a location and we'll go, right, they want to charge us X amount. We divide that between so many people and they would pay X amount each. Yeah. So as a rough figure, we say Beacon Hill Fort in Harwich has only been going as 2 or 3 years now. He charges £150 for the first 10 people and then £15 per head after that.
Afterwards, yeah.
So we think, right, brilliant. So we paid a deposit. That's the first 10 people. Well, we look at it, £15 a head. And we turn around and say, right, we'll put an extra £5 or £10 on top of that. And that will cover everything we get for the event. So that's the food and the drink that we provide on the event. So it covers everything.
Your expenses, basically, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, for the food and drink. Yeah. And then if anything's left over, a fuel allowance.
Yeah.
And all my team are happy with it. And out of us, there's only 6 of us in the team, but 4 of us are from Colchester, and I'm the only driver. And our other 2 are Sam and Marcus, who live in Aylesbury, so they get a fuel allowance. And then I waiver mine anyway because I'm the boss. Yeah. So I don't worry about it. So everything goes back into the business. And if there's anything left over after all of that, then it goes back to paying for a deposit for somewhere else.
For the next one, yeah.
I don't make anything from any of my events. And that's how it should be, because the whole idea is you're going out there, you're going out to experience something, and you want other people to experience the same thing that you do week in, week out.
Yeah.
And so I think when you get a group that will charge £65 for the same venue, and literally,
yeah.
I mean, I was I was invited by a certain group. I won't name them because they seem to have sorted themselves out. But one of their very first events, they were at this Beacon Hill Fort, and they asked me if I would go along as a special guest. And as soon as I got there, I stayed in the car until everybody else had arrived, and then he said, "Well, I'll introduce you to the rest of the people." And of course, we walked down and he introduced me, and the next minute I know there's people going, "Yeah, I know who you are. Oh, I've seen you, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, yeah, great. No problem. And to be honest, from beginning to end, it was a complete shit show. They got everybody herded around the main gates. He got this weird music playing. And then he said, "I'll do the health and safety talk." And it was a pre-recorded thing, and it was almost like a robot talking.
Yeah.
And then the guy turned around and he said, "I will now do a spell of protection." Now, me, I don't do a spell of protection. I can't have a spell of protection. I'm already protected by what's with me, so I don't need it. And I said, and he did say, if anybody doesn't want a spell of protection, just go through the gate and stand with my mother, who's on the other side. She will take your drinks order. So I thought, okay, drinks order, whatever. So I've gone, that'll be me. So I've gone through, and everybody looked at me as if I'd grown a second head. And I, what? He's not taking a spell of protection. I was the only person that walked through that gate. And I'm like, seriously, this isn't right. So, of course, eventually everybody else came through. We went up into the hub room, and we all sat there. He split us off into groups. We went off into, there's an underground again with Beacon Hill Fort. It was another coastal battery during World War II. But there was a settlement there right the way back to, I think, the 1600s. And we ended up with 40 people in this ammunition room. And this ammunition room could have only been about 35 foot long by about 10 foot wide. We had 40 people in there. And as we're walking in, he's going, "Do you want a cat ball? Do you want a cat ball?" He's handing out. He's got a box of cat balls. He's giving them out to everybody as we're walking in. So I took my cat ball and I stood in there and I found one of these little light holes in the wall.
Yeah.
So I stuck the cat ball in this light hole and I left it there. And everybody was talking and going, "Oh, do you reckon something will happen?" I'm like, "Well, if you're all quiet, you'll be able to hear something." So, of course, he started calling out. No, he didn't put anybody in charge of what was going on. So none of the guests were able to call out. And then one of the guests said, "Is it all right if I get my REM pod out?" So he's like, "Yeah, no problem." So she gets a REM pod out, puts it on the floor, and it was the directional one.
Oh, yeah.
With the 4 red lights on it.
Yeah.
She puts it down. He goes, "Would you like to do the Estes method?" So she said, "Oh, yeah, I'll do that." So she gets a blindfold on, gets these earphones on, sits in the chair. Then he turns around and says, "Can I have somebody else to do it as well?" And I'm like, "Why have you got 2 people doing the Estes method in the same room?" So, of course, this other lady puts her hand up. She gets blindfolded, earphones on, sat down on the seat directly behind this other lady. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? This ain't right. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, yeah, okay, let me get on with it. And this REM pod kept going off. It was going absolutely crazy. So I sort of sidestepped over to the guy that was running the event. I said to him, "Did you tell everybody to turn their phones off?" "Oh, no, I forgot." "Seriously?" He went, "Right, can everybody make sure that their phones are either off or on flight mode, please?" I went, "No, you need to make sure their phones are off, not on flight mode, because something can still come through on flight mode if you activate it." Yeah. And he went, "Oh, right, okay, can everybody make sure their phones are switched off?" And everyone's, "Oh, yeah, I didn't do that. I didn't know." Right. Switched the phone off, REM pod stopped. And in the meantime, these two ladies that sit in the chair, totally oblivious of what everybody else is doing, they're calling out, they're saying words, and no one is writing them down.
No one's paying attention.
No one's paying attention to what they're doing. And it got to a stage where you could hardly hear what these two were saying over each individual group within these 40 people. And then 6 people said, "It's all right if we go off on our own. We'll go off into another section." You went, yeah, off you go. And you let them just wander off. And I'm like, you can't do that. I'm like, this ain't right. You just let them 6 people wander off on their own with no staff with them.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, you've got 2 groups of people in different areas of the location, and no one's actually keeping an eye on every member of the guests.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is getting bloody ridiculous. And then, like, after a while, everybody was getting fed up, so we moved elsewhere. And then I thought, do you know what? I'm not staying here much longer. I'll wait till the break and I'll see what happens up to that point. And then if it's still bad, I'm off. So we went up into the hub room at break time, didn't we? We gave all our cat balls back, walked into the hub room, and there's this old dear. She's standing there with camping stoves, boiling bottles of water. You know, she's got the kettles and these camping stoves. She had literally just put them on. And I'm like, are you serious? You've only just put the water on, knowing full well that they're going to have a break at a certain point. Yeah. You've got no hot water ready. So they had to wait half an hour for the water to boil before they could get a cup of coffee. I'm like, that's half hour of investigating you've just lost.
You've waited just for watching a water boil.
So I just stood outside and I held my phone up to my ear, and then I waited for the boss to come out, and I turned around to him and said, "Look, I'm sorry, mate. I've got an issue at home with my kids. I'm going to have to go." And he went, no problem. That's all right. He said, "We'll see you on the next one." I went, "Maybe I'll see what happens." And I left. And as I left, I'm like, right, okay, I've got an hour. So I shot straight up to Ruffham Control Tower, where a friend of mine had asked me if I could do an investigation with them.
Yeah.
So literally 10 o'clock at night, I'm hightailing it up the A12, straight to Bury St Edmunds, into Ruffham Control Tower. I ended up leading a team into the control tower for the rest of the night. And I loved every minute of it.
That's a bonus end to the night then.
Yeah, it was. It was brilliant. Wow. And I thought, charlatans is what really cheeses me off, because they're only in it for the money and they're making big profits, but they're doing it the wrong way.
Yeah,
and some of them aren't even registered. You know, it's all under the radar. And you're like, you know, public liability insurance, you can't get unless you are registered with Company House.
Yeah.
And if you're registered with Company House, you've got to be registered with HM Revenue and Customs.
Naughty people.
So, yeah. And I have noticed some groups in the past have got people to sign waivers when they've come in. So they've had pieces of paper and said, you know, when they've got into the hub room, they've handed them out and gone, "Can you sign this, please?" To say that you will not hold us responsible if you twist your ankle in that place.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, hang on a minute. That's why you've got public liability insurance that covers you for anything like that.
Which they haven't got, yeah.
Which they clearly haven't if they've got people signing waivers.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you're going to do something, you've got to do it above board, because if all hell breaks loose, you're going to be in deep trouble.
Yeah. So, Wayne, it's been awesome. Thank you so much for this evening. We could talk for hours and hours. I love the alien stuff. It's brilliant. So if you could just let people know where to find you on social media, where to get your books, etc., that would be great.
Right, okay. Well, first off, we have Truth Beyond Paranormal, which is on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. With TikTok, it's Truth Beyond Paranormal TV. I personally am also on TikTok as Wayne Seaden, but my TikTok videos at the moment are just like humour and a bit of fun. Yeah. Sometimes I will do lives, like I did on Christmas Eve. I did a live feed through Facebook and TikTok simultaneously, reading my ghost story. We do the Dark Mirror radio show on a Monday night, 9:30 on Facebook. I have my Facebook group, Wayne Seaden Presents Spookinory. So if anybody's interested in coming over there and getting information about early releases, special offers on my books, and things like that, it's on there. And then we have the Facebook group Spookinory Events, which is obviously the event side of everything I do. When it comes to the books, you can either buy the books direct from Amazon. They're currently £5 each. But if you message me directly, I do a deal where they are £15 for all four. I also personalise them, so they're signed, and they get... this is quite funny. I saw this and I couldn't resist it. I had to get it. The Spookinory stamp of approval.
Keep it spooky.
So you get that on the front page as well as my autograph on there. And then I specially wrap them in a special ribbon with my surname's wax seal around it.
Ooh, very nice.
So it's all ribbon bound with a wax seal on it. But I do that for £15 because that's where the biggest good thing has been about Amazon is my contract allows me to buy 1,000 copies of my books at any one time, and I can sell them myself
however you want. Yeah,
however I want. So that makes, although I get some form of profit from Amazon each month, they get their cut, but I can buy the books at printer's cost and sell them myself, so my profit margin is slightly bigger. Which, if you've got things like, I mean, if you've got things like the stamps, or you think of something like the ribbon with the wax seal that makes it just that little bit more special, and autograph them, which you can't do through Amazon.
No,
people tend to go that route rather than go through Amazon. So that has probably been the best part about it, is being able to do that way. And then obviously I've got, like I said, the Dark Mirror podcast, 9:30 on a Monday night. We do a mystical carousel show on a Thursday night on Facebook. That's 9:00, which is supposed to be more of a serious look at different aspects of the paranormal.
Yeah.
However, we sort of tend to go a bit wonky and end up having a bit of fun at the same time. And then Friday night, which is supposed to be the light-hearted side of the paranormal, we have Fools and Ghouls, which is at 8:00 on Facebook as well.
Wow, it's a busy boy.
Yeah, so we've now just sort of the co-hosts of the Thursday and Friday shows. We have now started a new network called N&W Multiverse Network, which is working alongside Things Network in America.
Oh yes, I've heard of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're working alongside them. So we've got our own little network within the Things Network, which is Lois Haddo and Nick Moulet, who works with Things Network. So we sort of like doing different things, and we're working on crime shows on a Tuesday. There'd be the odd spots on a Wednesday and things like that. So it's it's a busy old world.
It seems that way. So yes, Wayne, thank you again so much for joining me this evening. It's been great, and hopefully I will see you on an investigation very soon.
Yes, no doubt.
Cheers, mate. Nice one.
Catch you later.
Wow, guys, what an awesome show that was. Wayne knows so much stuff. I want to go and sort out some aliens. That's what I want to do. But I also think you should go check out his books. I will be doing that. And check out his podcast. I mean, there's one every day. You can't miss them. So, yeah, like Wayne said, he's a busy boy. And go check out his stuff. Also, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. It's slowly building. We're doing well. The feedback is brilliant. Follow the Instagram page. And I will see you next week with Lost Souls Paracom. Second time lucky. So that's all I'm saying. So yes, guys, thank you so much. I'll see you next week. See you later.